Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, June 15th, 2026. New day, fresh start. Welcome to Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real time technical analysis, and actionable trade setups. All with a focus on building real trading skills and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with the same goal: build out the structure before the open so that we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces, not guessing, not chasing. Good morning, everyone. I'm super happy to be here. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Good morning, Philly D. Good morning, Delphine. Good morning, Elisa. Uh, yes, good, Elisa, the day type is S2H. There was an edit on it. So the image should be up now. Just go back to the feed and check that. Let me know if you see that correctly. Okay. Yep. All right, team. Let's build it out. Let's get into the charts. Let's start off as we do every Monday morning. We start off with our higher time frame analysis, and to do that, we're going to take a quick look at the weekly chart. Now, one quick disclaimer before we head into the open. It is rollover has begun. I am not a big fan of rollover. It messes with the charts. It kind of makes the picture a little bit muddy. And so, but that's the market. That's what we have to deal with. And that's why we are seeing this gap on the chart, on the weekly chart. This is not a true gap. It is a rollover gap. And as the day progresses, as the week progresses, that will smooth out and we will have a more accurate view. Today is the first day of rollover. Today's the day where rollover gets really most complicated because we have kind of sort of equal volume in both, split in both contracts, and it kind of muddies the water for us. So let's just be mindful of that. I'll talk about it more as we go on throughout the session. But for now, let's just analyze and take a look at the weekly chart and see if there's anything we can discern from it. Okay, so one quick look is that what we see here is that price pulled back for a week and then closed last week on with a hammer close. Okay, so it's looking more and more like this could be a swing low for a move higher. Now, this structure immediately tells me that we may have come a little too far too fast. So let's just be mindful of it. The high is coming in at 76.32.50. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Same thing here, gap. But what I'm more interested in looking at is how these lows formed, how this pullback low formed. You can see we had outsized volume last week. That's something to be mindful of. Does that volatility continue throughout this week? We shall see. Good morning, Bruce. Good morning, Easy Money. Good morning, Renee. All right, team. Yeah, so this gap is kind of muddying the waters, but we have prices come really far, really fast. I would, on the daily chart, I have a hard time seeing us just going and busting through and doing something like that. What I think is a higher probability is that we come in somewhere around here, put in a marginal high or a lower high, and then maybe base here, something like that, and then we'll sort it out. If we consolidate here at these highs, we can hold the prior high. This would be our first reference, okay, and that would be the May 14th high at 75.40. If we can hold above there, that's the most bullish outcome. Okay, that's the most bullish scenario, where we just consolidate above the prior high, and eventually sometime this week break out and make a higher high. Now, On the other side of this all-time high at 76.32.50, we have to consider also potential look above and fail. Okay, because that being said, that argument that we've come a little too far, charts don't really. I'm just looking at this from a fractal perspective, and I don't. If we look above and come right back into the range, okay, if we get back down below 76.32 in the event that we do look above, we're going to spot that 75.40 high, right? If we go back up and test it, that holds as resistance, and then we break back below 75.40, that will indicate to us that we're in the move down to test this lower distribution from last week. You probably come down here and test something in here, but we'll assess it. We'll follow the price action. We'll take it one step at a time. All right, so that covers the weekly and the daily. Let's jump into the hourly chart and see if there's anything that's going to really give us a different look or perspective, but I think it should line up more or less the same. Yeah, okay. Again, same thing here. If we do get below, okay, one other reference that we'll need to contend with is the big high from last Tuesday. This, if you remember, last Tuesday, on Monday we rallied. On Tuesday we looked above it and failed, and we had the big sell-off. I think that was the 68-point trade, and we immediately traded right down and made a new low. All right, so if we stall out here and we make a lower high, our potential outcomes here will become a lower high relative to 76.32. Further cementing that argument would be if we cannot breach 76.11, this prior high from June 4th. Okay, if we stall out here and we start to pull back, then the first thing we're looking at is the high from last Tuesday, the look above and fail high that came in at 74.91. We'll frame that as 7,500. 74.90 to 7,500 becomes our support zone. All right, we'll start looking for what was resistance to hold as support. We'll probably have some moving averages there to support that argument. Yep. All right, let's dig into the most bullish argument. Let's map out the most bearish. We'll get into trades. Okay. So yes, we will build out the most bullish argument. We'll talk about the most bearish argument, and then we'll get into our beloved trap trades. We'll talk about the bullish trap trade. We'll talk about the bearish trap trade, and we'll see how we want to approach this morning. Now, remember, it's all over. Right? Things can get really muddy. You have there's a spread trade strategy that people often execute, where they're long the front, Well, if they're bullish, they would be long the front month, short the back month, and they're kind of trying to capture that spread. That tends to keep price more compressed. It's less common to see outsized ranges on those days, so expecting a normal size range day. Let's make sure we have that Tuesday high at 75. Okay, go on. So heads up, I am using these. I have changed over to the September contract. I am on September. When the volume becomes equal, I switch on that day. Coming into this morning, I saw that the volume was equal. I was tracking it last night. I saw that they were hand in hand. And for me, there's a reason for that. It's just I'd rather be on the contract that's going to that I'm going to be working with from now on. I'd rather make that switch as early as possible. So just as a heads up, I am trading the September contract. The ticker there is it's code month U. So it would be on Thinkorswim, it's ESU 26. On NinjaTrader, it's ES September 26. Okay. If anyone does not understand that, let me know and I can go into a more well-rounded explanation of it. But right now, I really want to get into these charts. I want to see how we're gonna attack this today. Okay. So for the most bullish argument, it's pretty simple. We've gapped up, we're consolidating, and we're grinding higher, right? So for the most bullish argument, it doesn't get any more simple and straightforward than it does with this. We're looking at the overnight high, 76.02 quarter. If we can get break above the overnight high, and not simply just get up there and wick or just poke our heads above, we want to make sure, let the market prove it, right? Let's not rush in. Let's let somebody else's money figure that out. Let's wait till till the tape shows some acceptance, right? And perhaps we enter on a pullback. Maybe the overnight high doesn't hold, but the high of this distribution coming in, you can see here we made our first high where we started to really show a retracement, came in at 75.96.75. Let's just call that 75.97. We'll frame that out as 75.95 to 7600. All right, just to be general with it, because anything with it, it's very hard to be very specific to one price. It almost makes just markets do not move that way. There's going to be slippage. You want to make sure that I always calculate bands. Okay, so we're looking at that band, 75.95 to 7600. Price can break above. Let's make sure we get that line. So if price can break above the 75, the overnight high, that's going to be our first tell that the bulls are active. They're buying this market, and who knows, maybe they're going to drive us up to an all-time high. Okay, at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to monitor the retracement of this move. We're going to wait for price to show some acceptance above the overnight high within that 75.95 to 7600 band, and then we're going to track and monitor for a pullback, entering our long positions very close to our exit, as close as we can get, scaling into those trades to get a good average. All right. Once we get above, we can pull back and hold it, and it shows some acceptance, and we have some time. Okay, we're getting in our long trades. We're looking for extension higher. We're taking out our scales along the way, being very mindful that we have that higher time frame structure to contend with just above us. Okay, so we'll run into we don't run into really much before we can get our 5 and 10 point scales out of the trade, and perhaps maybe get into a runner and see how far the market wants to go. All right. So for the argument, if we get above the overnight high and we hold a pullback at 75.95, 7600, we're immediately going to be thinking that that's the most bullish outcome. We're going to start long entries for a move higher. All right. Now let's dig into the most bearish argument. It's pretty simple here. All right. So our first reference is going to be this low, right? So we've been holding support roughly at about 75.80 to 75.85. Okay. So we want to see that first fail. If 75.80 to 85 fails, we're going to start looking at the spike high from the overnight session, and that came in at 75.67. Okay, once we start showing acceptance within 75.67 to 75.85, all right, if we get a break, and we get below that 75.85 and it starts holding as resistance, all right, we're going to start entertaining short ideas. We're going to use the clock. We're going to use our levels from the market blueprint. And then if we can get an extension trade lower, then we're looking at a target of 76, 75, 67, and then maybe even a gap fill. Now remember, context is king, right? So if we do break and prices, the first thing we're going to monitor is that price, how quickly price is moving. What's the velocity of the move? Read that context. Understand when ES sells, it sells really quickly. It doesn't wait around. So if it is going to be a gap fill, I would expect that we get below 75.67, and we do not stick around up here in this upper distribution for very long. Okay, so if we dip down below, anything that comes here and that holds, we're going to be looking for a move down lower to the overnight low at 75.42. That would be the most bearish argument. Let's frame out the bullish trap trade. All right, so the bullish trap trade has us same scenario, same kind of concept we're thinking about here. All right, where price is been rallying all night. Remember, our overnight inventory is net positive. Okay, so if price gets above the overnight high and begins to stall, where we're showing wicks, where prices doesn't seem like it's extending higher, and it does, and we start to put in a lower high, we're going to start looking for those lower highs to hold, and we're going to start monitoring for any short trade. Okay, so first, there's a few ways it can materialize. We always have the head and shoulders pattern in which we could materialize, or we can just look above, put in a lower high, and then fade. We have to worry less about what happens at the high. That becomes our risk marker once price proves it. And how does price prove it? Simple. It re-enters the overnight range. Once price gets below 76.02 and it starts working into that band, hitting as low as 75.95 and starts getting below it, we're going to start framing that as a look above and fail. We're going to start stalking our short entries for a move down to 75.67 and perhaps even down to full gap up. Move down to the overnight low, 75.42. 75.67 fails to hold. Following that, we'll see if there's a gap fill in store for us at 75.25. By that time, we're already in a runner. We're trailing it down. We're taking profits along the way. All right, so that frames out the bullish trap trade. Let's talk about the bearish trap trade. Okay, in the bearish trap trade scenario, price is breaking and we get below the overnight low. Okay, and price looks below it, fails, we put in a higher low, and then we're stalking entries into the long trade to get us back up to 75.67. Okay, we're monitoring these lows. You know, we should see a very nice sized wick off those lows. We're looking for consolidation. We want to see price showing acceptance where it looked below the overnight low, and then it reclaims it. And then at that point, we're looking for, hey, is price stabilizing? Are the pushes, when price dips and it stabs lower, are there responsive buyers there? And if there are, then we're waiting to get longer we're waiting to get long in the later part of that balance area, and we're stalking our long entries, and we're looking for a move back up to 75.67. Okay, that same move could materialize below the yesterday's high, where we come back down below yesterday's high. Perhaps it stabs a little bit lower, but sellers are just unable to gain a following, and ultimately we reclaim it. If we reclaim it and we get back above it, then at that point, you know, we know it's game on to the upside. Bears trapped, they're going to get squeezed again, and we will start looking for a move to the upside, with our first target being, we're going to look for the reclaim of 75.25, and then we're going to start targeting 75.42. I love that trade idea. simply because there's so much room between that gap between yesterday's high of 75.25 and 75.42. There's nearly 20. There's nearly 25 points in that trade, depending on what our entry is going to be, and that could be a very lucrative trade for us. We know that we're in an uptrend. The hourly retracement has ceased. Let's see if it goes have our intent on breaking out to new highs, but we don't need all that to happen. All we need is good trade location on the day time frame in order to make a living. All right, team. So that covers the most bullish scenario. That covers the most bearish scenario. We've also talked about a few ideas on the bullish trap trade. We've also talked about a few ideas on the bearish trap trade. Okay. The sideways, the dreaded sideways move, which we always have to cover, which is my least favorite, would be if we simply consolidate within the overnight range. So if price looks above the overnight high, comes back in, but fails to extend in any meaningful way below 75.65, below 75.67, okay, and it stays within that range. At that point, we're going to start switching our approach. At that point, we want to start taking more scalp trades, taking those first targets at 3 and being out of most of our trade by 5 points. We're going to start entering on the edges of the balance, and we're going to be taking our exits back within the middle part of that balance area. All right, team. So that frames it out for today. A couple of good ideas. Hopefully we get one of them to materialize, as one of them always typically does on any given day. And we should be doing all right today. I think we're going to see some price action. I think we're going to have one good solid dip here today, and that one opportunity might be all we need. I mean, we only ever need one good trade. I mean, if you depending on what your personal goals are, you can really make a great living on one good trade a day. Sometimes I admittedly, you fall into a mindset where you start seeing the setups and it starts to become super clear to you, and you start trading more setups throughout the day. And at that point, when you're seeing it really, really well, trading becomes more about the risk management, more about, hey, I know you're consistently making profit, and thus the focus kind of switches to, hey, I know I'm going to have wins. I know my wins are going to be larger than my losses. So let me start working on shoring up those losses. I want to make sure that I'm being judicious about the trades that I do enter, with the understanding that I don't have to trade every turn. All right. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Yes, Philly D. No, Philly D, I am not on June. I am on September. I have switched over to September. The volume now is actually outpacing. September contract is outpacing June's contract in terms of volume. Okay. On the September contract, there is more volume there, so I have switched. I try to get to that. The moment I realize, like, between when I'm preparing, the moment I realize that there's more volume in the front month, I try to switch. I don't like rollover because, as I said, there are spreaders in the market that are executing their strategies, and it's just, I mean, it could, I'm not going to blame the market. Been around too long for that. But the one thing that I do want to highlight is that it just kind of turns into this time where it for me, generally, it hasn't equated into great performance. So that, being mindful of that, I tend to be a little bit more subdued during rollover. Worked better for me. All right. So immediately you see here we're testing above the overnight high, and let's see what the market has in store. I'm switching over to my trading chart. Good morning, Oz. How are you? There's a break above 76.08. All right, all right. It looks like my Ninja Trader stalled out here a little bit. Okay, let me just make an adjustment. Yeah, Renee. It was. I got to sleep late last night. Yep. I was on. I was. We were actually. I was watching it with my brother on FaceTime, and yeah, it was just a ton of fun. It was a big win for the city. I've been a long time suffering Nick fan, and it was nice to see. And I wasn't a believer, but during the season, once they got into the postseason, I mean, there was little doubt. But it was fun to watch. It's always fun when your city wins. All right, let's make an adjustment here. I'm going to have to adjust this chart as it's a little bit hang tight.
Let me know if you guys have any overnight trades. I didn't. I was not active at all. Sorry. No, that's not true. I take that back. I did have an evaluation trade. And just as a heads up, I'm always pretty. I just assumed this, but I was talking to another trader about it, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands that. You know, when I'm trading, I'm in front of you. Oh, you can assume that it's real money every time. If I'm trading usually if I'm trying to pass an evaluation, I'm doing that like later in the day after I earn what I earn, and I usually have a stable of funded accounts ready that I can activate. So I just wanted to be clear about that. Not sure it matters very much. Hang on. Not sure that matters very much. All right, team, here we are, 76.12. 76.12 is the high. Let's watch it. We're extending above the overnight high. Now what are we doing? We're looking for acceptance, right? Can price accept above the overnight high or not? All right, so we are 5 minutes into the day. Plenty of time to go. Let's just be let's monitor the price action here and see what we get. There is a valid trade for me here at 76.15 to 76.17. I'm a little less hesitant to fade this just yet. I want to get a little bit. I want to wait a little bit longer for price action to kind of prove it. I want to see what the intentions are. let's get let me get SPYGATE going here. Just want to make sure that I'm staying abreast of what's going on this breakout. Okay. Yeah, we're just steadily moving higher. I'm watching these highs though. It's a little early for any fade. We're only 8 minutes in. You really like to see the structure break, right? To get back below the overnight low. But I'm more inclined to just be patient here. But let me know what you guys are doing. If you're doing anything at all, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know. Share your trades. I encourage you to share them because we can all learn from them. I like the high here at 76.17. I like the high in terms of it being a like a failed auction type of look. I might try these. Who knows? Just because I have the valid setup on the market blueprint, it's kind of my responsibility to take these. At least that's the way I look at it. But I haven't done anything yet. Yep. I missed it. I was not in it. David's talking about setup number 4. All right, guys, I just hit them though. I'm gonna try these short here. Trying setup number 6, setup number 5. I need these to get back below the overnight low. Yep, number 4 worked. I was busy prepping for the show. I noticed that. Yep, I see that. NQ's ripping back to highs. E Mini Sniper. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. There's 4 windows today. Support 4 pivot day. I have 7612s. I'm locked in on this order flow. I mean, I just if we get above that 14 quarter, then I'm out. Yeah, because then it would be like it may hold, but it's not going to be the move that I want. Like, and it'll probably just chop around. At that point, I'm a little less hesitant to buy a breakout on rollover day. I don't know. I may have it wrong. Often do. Funny thing is, you don't need to be right to make money. You have to just trade well. I added one. I'm going small on this. I added one so my average is 76.11. I don't want it above 14.5. I'm looking for 7601. I had 7612. So I'm looking for 7612. I need 7607. And it just traded. Gosh, look how slow this thing is running. I'm gonna have to. It's trade chat too. Yeah, but on the opposite side of that, J-Mo, is that they might. It might be one of those like tops have to form. So it either gets going right now, or you just stand aside and wait for the next idea. Yeah, look at the volume. Yeah. I'm out. I'm out of those. So look, they came in at 76. So they pushed it down to 76.07. I missed the fill there. They came down and then at 76.1250, right? So 76.11s, they hit them hard, right? Like 124, 110, 130 at 76.1150. And then nobody came in behind. So bears were unable to gain a following. And then where they really turned it was 76.1250 to 76.13. Like they hit those like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 times. And then it just changed out. It just from there, I get, so that's where I was also like, thinking about taking them off. But the level is still good though, right? Like, so the idea start with the idea is the market blueprint 70s, idea number 5. Idea number 5. So maybe we need to go trade up to like 76 20, 76.18, and then come back in. We'll see. If I was in micros, I might have still been in them, but let's see what happens here. On the higher time frame, right? We have to look at this too. Let me just make sure I'm in. Oh yeah, that's super far away. I thought this was closer. Honestly, I thought this. Look, in the back of my mind, I had this level here. This is not. This is way up there at 76, 75. There's like 60 points till we get there. So. Yep, I'm watching it. 15-minute is, look, we formed the wick, we came back. Like, it might be one of those scenarios, like I said, where the top needs to form. And then in that case, right, where you, like, the safest bet, if that idea is going to work. See, like, for me, the market blueprint, the way I have to trade these setups I can't wait for a break of structure. Either the level is good and you enter there, or there's no trade. So but so that's the reason why I mentioned that, because that's why I'm executing that trade. And I got it at 76.12, which was 5 points off my level, which I'm fine with, right? I'm okay with that. But a safer way to execute that same idea is to simply wait for a break below today's daily open, right? So because the open is so close to the overnight high, so we have the daily open at 75.99 quarter, and then we have the overnight high at 76.02. So simple, right? We just wait for a break there. Wait for that level to break, and then you fade them. And then you wait for a retracement of that down move, wait for a pop, enter closely, see what kind of structure forms up here, and then take your shot there. And here's another thing about that, a nuance that I've noticed also about fading ES in uptrends is that, so like the old adage, right? Tops form, bottoms happen. And so there are frequent times where I've gone back and looked at the level after the day's over, and I'll see, like, if it was like today's level 76.17, I'll go back and I'll watch it, and I'm like, wow. So I faded it on the first touch, say at 9:30, and then I'll look at it and I'll see that an hour later I could have gotten that same entry because we were still in that area. So this is often why I say, hey, I'd rather trade later in the balance. And with these with this idea, like, I was looking for a pop and then a fade right back below, which could still happen. But order flow is going to guide my decisions here, and I certainly don't want to. I'm certainly not going to try that idea again. Like, the order flow is just too strong right now. You can see why it's moving up. I can't long it here, so I'm sidelined. Did we get any type of decent pullback to the overnight high? No, right? No, I mean, that's not, yeah. That's fine. We can flip so what's let me see, what's the long idea? So if we convert 75.16, 719, this looks like it's so from the order flow read, it looks pretty strong. It looks like they just might keep ripping this higher. What are the internals saying? What's the WAD saying? Let's check those out. because we might have to change hats here, and wait for so more like what I mean, not change hats, but scrap that idea, and now let's start thinking about, okay, where do we enter this move? Because we didn't really get a move back to the overnight high. We traded it, we looked above it, and the overnight high is 76.02. The lowest we could get was 76.07. So imagine, all right, what's the read on that? Well, that's bullish. But bears couldn't even get a retest of the overnight high. Let's just watch it. It's 9:52 Eastern. Let's see what happens. I've seen it often enough where these moves, where this type of order flow was a bait. But it's long until it's not. I'm not fighting it. Like those counter trend trades, try them once, and then if you're wrong, step aside. Reassess. But another nuance of this is that, so the better trade in hindsight was the high into the high pivot, right? So we're not even in the high window yet. That high window opens in about 7 minutes. So if I can get a pullback, it's dicey because that 76, I know what that 76.17 level is. It's dicey. I think this is more likely a wait and see mode. If I can get a nice move down to $76.15 maybe. Yeah. Correct. The first window is between 10 and 10:55. You could probably scalp this right now for 2 or 3. It's gonna pop. Nah, I just rather wait. I'm going to wait. My read only gets better with the day. The longer in the day, the better my read gets. See, so now look at this. It's just now you're starting to see. Now we're starting to wick. 76.22, 70. Oh wow, look at that. Yep, look at that. Be cautious up here. Stand aside. I'm going to stand aside here. I don't want to do anything in this. Let this top form, because here's another thing is, timing is so important. We can have the level right, but have to sit through a bunch of heat, and I'm certainly not going to long it now at 956. The internals are so strong though too. That's another thing. Hey, you don't have to trade it. I don't have to trade it. Correct. The high is in the 10 a.m. window here. Let me just bring it up. $10 a.m. It's actually 10:45. Sniper. Yep. So there's a good trade in here. Let's just be patient. There's always something for us. So, you know what? I'm starting to think. Let me just look at something. So this is where it gets really dicey, right? Like on contract rollover, what's today's fair value? It's always. I have to have an accurate fair value. So the back month contract fair value is 2.52. But the level, so we actually didn't hit the level until 76.22. That's the actual level is SPX. So the level that's derived from is SPX 7550. And we just traded 75 with today's high in SPX 7552. Yeah. Tough one. I'm still favoring, if we can get this high and starts to form out, I think look at the internals. Look at the NASDAQ. Russell sideways, that's flat. I don't know what that thing is doing. What are the ticks telling us? So the ticks opened high, spiked, and then they've come right back in, and we haven't seen that high tick since the high tick at 10 minutes into the day. So the buying is subsiding relative to the open. I'm inclined to hit these on the short side. Just wait for the structure to break. So I always try to maintain this mindset too. So ask yourself, what's your signal to execute ratio? So what do I mean by that? I mean, what is the time lapse between the time you say, hey, this is my signal, to the time you execute, like the time you conceive the signal in your brain, right? Like, okay, I'm going to do this, to the time you execute that. And the reason why I ask is because there was a time where I used to monitor my own signal to execute ratio, because I needed to create a bigger gap between signal to execute ratio. Like I needed to see the market a little bit clearer, or I wanted a little bit more evidence on what my thought was. Because I used to fall into this mindset that, all right, so I want to get long, and then I would execute that signal right away, and it wasn't the most opportune time. All right, here we go. Now we formed a couple couple of small little wicks, and now we're pulling in a little bit. Now we're retesting them. You know, the internals are really strong here. Let me see what's the high here. Yeah, and then everything. I mean, this is all pretty much a bear. Sorry, not a bear flag. This is a bull flag. It's dicey. I'll just continue to work it out in my head until I have a good signal. But this is a resistance into a time-based pivot. It's hard for me to trade it on the long side, even though internals are strong, trend is up. If I'm going to trade it long, I'll wait for a test of the overnight high, test of the open, and I'll wait until 11 o'clock. If I can wait for an hour for a winning trade, I'll wait for it. Doesn't make for an doesn't make for an exciting stream though, that's for sure. All right, here we go. We're back up. We're testing those wicks again. I'm monitoring the order flow for us. If you're in your long trade, you're on the right side of things right now. Monitor for continuation. See if we can break above these wicks and start extending higher. Yep, there we go. We're testing that wick again. Right back up into them. Oh, this is a good test right here. Let's see what happens. I like that test right there. See if we can extend higher. Now's a great time for questions if y'all have any. There's definitely some signs of stalling up here. Tighten up if you're long. That low pivot came in at that little micro dip low came in at 76.11. So we have 76.11 and 76.07. Those are the ones that if you're in your long, you don't want to see price get below. if you're looking for the short, you just got to keep on. Look at we keep wicking. Let's just watch it. I might try these with micros up here, just like, you know, let's say I get 76.15 and risk what, 10 points on a couple of micros. That's not gonna. I'm happy. I'm okay with that. I haven't done anything yet. Again, signal to execute ratio. Consolidating. If you're in the long, you're on the right side. We're coming down, price is coming down. It's a test that 9-period moving average, and thus far it's holding a support. So heads up. I am trying to get those micros in. We'll see. I don't have anything out yet. I don't want to start getting into a counter trend rally, so the countering a rally. But the idea is the resistance point is 75.50 SPX, and the ratio of, oh, look at the ticks too. I'm gonna try to get a fill here. I'm gonna try to go for a fill. Look at the ticks. The ticks were the tell, guys. Look at our tick chart. Right? Look at, this is what I'm talking about with the ticks. Right? Do you guys use the tick? Look at what we did, right? Price came up, we opened, and since then, so ticks measure the buying on the NYSE, right? So they came in, they came higher, and since then, even though where is it? Where's my tool? I'm gonna try to get a fill here soon. I'm stalking it for now. But what I want to explain is, okay, so this is our tick chart for today, right? This is these are our ticks for today. Just this portion right here. Let me just expand it. Price. Hang on. All right. So price is doing this, right? While our ticks are doing the opposite. I mean, it's not a signal to go, you know, balls to the wall short. It's just an observation. And it's like, this is the stuff I was working with Jesus on Thursday, was putting all of this together. I grabbed some of those 12s right there again. I'm a glutton for punishment. and I'm willing to add at 17. No, yeah, I'm willing to add 5 points high. If I don't know. We'll see. It's got to get below 76.07 now. No, screw that. I'm just no. I'm in wrong. I just closed them out. I scratched them. See what the ATA. Let's see what the PTG ATAs are doing. All right, so it's stalking a long at 76.05. It's gonna be too early for me. Yeah, I should have been in these already. I fell from 10s. All right, I'm in. What? Hang on. I'm in a trade though right now. I'm on the street. Nobody. No. No, baby. Later. Okay? I promise. Yes, I promise. Nice extension lower. Oh yeah, baby, let's go. I got the 10s. I want to add to them. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. Oh yeah, baby, let's go. One off. I have 2 at 10. So it must have been 11.50 because I got one off at 06.50. Right back in on me. Oh yeah, look at the PTG 810 76.05. Nailed the level. Scratch on that. So I got the first one off and I scratched the second one. At least I got one off. Looking for the better fill up here somewhere. I grabbed some 12s again. Glutton for punishment, but I am consistent. Oh man, I added the 12s there. Dude, I've traded 76.12 short like 3 times already. Come on, baby, let's go. Take me downtown. Come on, take me down. Let's go. Get me downtown, baby. Get me downtown. All right. Come on. Bam, got him. +5 on that. +5. Can I get a break? Come on. That's a little baby, little micro cash register rig. We want the big ones. We want the ones that go that sound like you're depositing at Fort Knox and you bought like 10,000 tons of bullion. Yeah, me too. Me too. I look again. I think that there's. Look again, guys. Don't try every. I doubt anyone's trading everything things that I'm trading. Right. Everybody, they pretty much is following their own plan. I'm just explaining what I'm doing. And so if you can see here remember, look, I'm following my plan, right? I have a level. This is why the plan is so important. I have a level. I've been consistent about my execution, and look at what I put here. Let me just. I mean, I could be wrong too, but this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. You see that? I'm looking for a tone shift. I'm looking for one good drop. So where does that good drop come from? If you're trading the market blueprint, where does that good drop come from? Does it come between 11 and 12 or 3 and 4? I'm out of those again. Stopped out at break even. Or does it come from the morning or the afternoon? So if I'm going to see that move, then that's what I'm trying to execute. I keep getting knocked out. Let's see if we can let's see what happens if bears can get over 76.16. I'll sell them again. But this is just, like what I've been talking about, trading around that core position, right? Taking one off, adding it back, try to stay nimble, try to keep that risk in check. I don't want to get caught off sides and have to take a big loss, right? I could trade around it, still trading or framing the same idea, but staying tactical about it. Stay tactical, my friend. So the PTG ATA, the ATA had a long at 76.05. I'm not sure I don't think it executed, but the level was good. Yeah, I thought I have a hard. So here, just framing this out. So we go sideways at highs, right? In which case, in about 30, 40 minutes, we'll get an entry into the long trade. If we do get this, like the CD1 break, then we should get below the 07s first. The first need. Right. like Jay Maroc pointed out. Jay Maroc. He pointed out 07s is the first need, and he's right. So if we can get down below here, right, that sticks. I want to be in that. I want to be in a short right by my exit. We're wicking now on both sides. That probably means we're probably going to go sideways here for a bit. Yep. See what happens at like 17, 18 above here. I got out of those, and now I'm just sidelined again. See if I can get another like negative delta fill. If I can at least get a few points on it, like at least get a little bit of like oomph in my trade before I sell into a rip. Journals are really strong though. NASDAQ is coming in a little bit. And Russell was below its gap low. If I don't know what that means, but I'm not sure that means much. But this is just an observation. It's not rallying. I don't think that would affect my decision either way. In fact, I know it wouldn't. I wanted to see it break on that, on this one right here, but it didn't. It's starting to look more and more like a long. In which case, I'll just wait for wait another 30 minutes. That's my window. And the longer we hang out up here, the less you would think that you got. I want to be ready for that dip, because maybe around here, 75, 95. Get down there, but it's wicking at the highs, right? It's showing that every time sellers push lower, there's responsive buying. It's a sleepy Monday. I mean, look at this chart. There's just nothing going on here. There we go. Right back up to the highs. Testing those 76.14, 76.15s. See if they can get over 76.16 quarter. Yep. Little thrusty volume coming in here. And then smacked right back down again. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Won't go higher, can't break lower. It looks like it just looks like it's pinned right now. Oh, there goes the break. Maybe I should have bought those like 07s where I covered that one. And then go where though? I'm like running right. It's like 10:30 right now. Yeah, I'm overthinking. I'm just gonna chill. Wait till something materializes. Nice extension. Nice big extension on this candle. Yep. Uh, 76.12. $76.14. Right back up again, 76.16. So it seems like it's always easier to be a bull. What? Hang on. What's the over under here, team? Higher or lower? What do you got? Kick hangover kind of crap right now. Nick hangover. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm gonna try the 12s again. I'm just staying tactical around this position. I haven't done anything yet. We'll see. Lower high. What are the ticks doing? And oh wait, let me check this. Hang on. Yeah, the watt is fading too. What? No. Just give me a few minutes. Looks like standard. Yeah, it's a little too early for me to say. We're only an hour in. I'm less hesitant to do though to keep, I'm not going to try that idea again. I'm just going to have to sit it out. What's SpaceX doing? SPCX? Yeah, man, there's nothing to see here. Look at these wicks. Wow. It's an ugly chart. You can't make sense of that? $76.14s again. Look at that. 76. There's a battle at 76.14 to 76.15. There's a you can like wrapped in those 4 to 5 ticks, 76.13, 75 to 76.15 quarter. There's just like this there's something executing there. I don't know what it is, but it's getting pretty jiggy in those couple of ticks. Look at that, the 13 quarters again, and then they came in on them 13.50. Keep watching. They're hitting these though now. Let's see. And then every time they hit them, they come right back in. So it's kind of like it kind of has that distribution look. $76.14s, $76.12s. Yeah, you see they just like $76.11.50 to $12.75. Something's happening at those 13s and 14s though. Hard to say what it is, but I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. I'd rather trade it later in the balance as I normally do. Yep, I'm getting a better look now here. Better look. What's this high right here? 76.18. Okay. So we can get like, let me see, what time is that? Yeah, it's just boring day. I think Paul O has it right. It's jump ball. It's just boring. There's not much to do. We're chopping around in a 10-point range thus far today. Let's see. We have a 24-point range. Yikes. Yeah. Don't expect much. $76.14 again. Look at that. What is going on there? You can't see this stuff on charts, like on candlestick charts. If I try anything, I think I've tried them at 14s, the way they're hitting them. Somebody's home right there. Question is, are they home on the long? Are the longs going to win? Is whoever's absorbing it going to win, or whoever's hitting them going to win? I think it's like goes back to what Polo says: jump ball. This is one of those mornings, team, that if I was just trading alone like I used to, I'd have walked out of the office already. I'd be like, I'll come back later. Go get a coffee. Like, go have that morning where you go like to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and you grab yourself a coffee. You just walk away. You come back and you see that price just didn't go anywhere. And you're just more the happier person for leaving. Are most of you all, hey Sambi, are most of you all trading September or June? Sambi says with rollover, balance of equilibrium needed. XLK, FCY make up over 70% of XL of SP, over 39%. XLK over 39%. Weighted chart, script code for tracking big four. If looking for one source glance, more accurate than NQ on chop. Indecision days at leading. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Summer trading is right, Oz. That's what it feels like. I think it's roll. I think it's the roll. We talked about this pre-market, like where they're just going to keep pricing check all day. It'll probably break and then come right back to balance. These are like the toughest days to trade. It feels like since we opened, we're in OPEX. What's the volume look like? If I do anything, I think you guys know what I'm gonna do. It's just dicey right now. Yeah, so it's just like slightly skewed to September by about 80,000 contracts. September is weighted heavier, 8,000 contracts. If I do anything, I'm gonna try to get in. Like I maybe you know, if we get on the long side, oh man, now I feel like I'm forcing it. Oh, look at that. They're breaking through. Oh, look at that. Look at that. They broke through those 14s now. Something happened. They got through them. Let's see if they can get over those 18s. if you haven't traded, you probably are, you probably did the best thing. Like this is just there's nothing happening. Because think about it, right? Price cannot not move. So when price is doing nothing, what does it look like, right? Price cannot not move, right? So what does it look like when price is not doing anything worth us our time and attention? Well, it probably looks like chopping from 7607 to, I don't know, 7620. That's just, nothing doing. Boring. The ticks have gotten a little bit firmer, like meaning that they dug in, they went negative, and then just curled up, and now they're trading more a little bit more positively. So that's an up sign, and internals never really relented. The WAD is pretty stable. XLK is up 3%. XLF is up 1%. Right, so those are all positives for the market. Those are all positives for the bulls. It's like those 14s were getting them long. Yeah, because that's typically the way it works. When you see that volume coming in like that, then whenever they pop and they go on the other side of it, all of those guys head for the exits. $76.18, 76, 76, yep, 18s, and 17.75. Looks like a decent scalp here, long. And then what are you gonna you buy 76.20 and trail it and stop out at 76.10? You don't know what you're going through. You know the things that life is showing you. Where are you going through? Scalp them if you got them. Scalp them if you got them. What do you think is worse, like getting stopped out and watching it work, or missing the trade completely? I think that, at least for me, I don't know. I think that getting stopped out and watching it work ranks pretty high in FML, in an FML type day. Hey, these things are they're steady on the bid up here, man. They're steady on this bid. I mean, it's just consistent, right? So all these sellers from these wicks that we saw are going to get smoked right now. I'm scalping them. This is just, it's got to pop here though. It's got to pop. It's got to pop. It's got to pop. Come on, baby. Let's go. 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 Trying to get as much out of it as I can. Getting stopped out, right? Yep. Getting stopped out and watching it work is brutal. I mean, it kills your bank account, crushes your psyche. Come on, let's go. Wait, 19. I need 24.75 here for a 5-point fill, which feels like a grand slam today. Seriously. Like, I took so many of those 76-12 shorts. I got a couple points on the downside, and then, you +4, +5, -1, +4, +5 break even. You can't pay the bills with that. You can't even keep the lights on. NQ cleared the 60 area. Yep, it's moving on up. Maybe that's the key. Maybe I need to pivot to NQ on these kind of days. I've thought about it often, but I grabbed those 1975s. I thought I had 20s, but I got 1975s. I'm looking for 24.75. I'm looking for, I don't know. I'm looking for a break higher. Got the 24.75, so +5 on that one. I have 20.50 left. Let's see if I can get 25.50 for a 5-point on this contract, which again feels like a major home run. What's FBX doing? Yeah, you see now coming back off. I'm probably gonna have to break these. I'm probably going to have to break these off at break even again. But it's the first time all day I feel like I'm on the right side of it. Come on, let's go. Take me higher. I surrender. I surrender. Move me. Let's go. You win. Ding, ding, ding. I got my dope. At least I didn't get any gut punch. At least I didn't get any of those, right? And again, trade management is so important. And that's one of the things that I think that, so Jesus knows, like, that's one of the things that it's hardest to teach. But with the traders that I'm working with, that's the thing that I focus on the most is, and you start to lose this idea. So a lot of trading and the way we've learned trading is this linear approach, right? You buy at 7,400, you put a 5-point stop on it. That's it. You put your scale here, your scale there. And there is so many different ways you can do it. Like you can buy that 7,400 and add 7,403. If it comes back in on you, taking off the 7,403s for 3 points, and then you're adding them back. And that's really the art. Trading is, in my opinion, it's both science and art, and that's the art of trade management that no manual is going to teach you. The only thing that's going to teach you that is having, like, is you watching someone doing it, because you can't. It's not like you can't write it down. You can't put it down and say, okay, here, do this and do that, like in a text-based way. I know, I've tried. You have to be one with the market. So the lesson always changes, right? The moment you pick up the lesson, the playing field changes. So every day is different. And the way I learned it was partly, all right, look, coming up into the next 5, got the 5-point fill on the second one, got the 5 on the second one. That feels like, why does that feel like a 50-point trade today? Anyhow, but in my opinion, that's where being around someone who knows how to trade and then teaching you these concepts is invaluable. If you can get fortunate enough to have someone teach you that, what can't be written, if they can teach you what cannot be written, if they can teach you show you by executing, that type of being dynamic with the market, that paint, executing in ways that paints outside the lines, you should take it up, because a lot of this stuff can't really be taught in a black and white linear type of fashion. Clip that. So yeah. Hey Renee, I just sent you a message. Do me a favor, check that message I sent you. And if you're someone that knows how to, trade that way, then you understand what I'm talking about, right? That black and white approach to trade management. It's more about trade management, right? Because see, everyone has levels. Everyone, like, you don't have to go very far for levels. You can gain a good follow on X. You can buy your levels. There's the multiple different ways of getting good levels. Levels is not if everyone that had good levels. So let me rephrase that. Why is it that everyone that has good levels can't make money, can make outsized money? And think about it. It comes down to trade management. It comes down to how you manage those trades, team. And being able to trade around a position, like to understand the environment that you're in. Like, this is so choppy right now. I understand I have this thesis, I have this idea, and I want to trade this idea, but I also don't want to lose money on it, right? So how do I execute this? Well, I think you guys saw some of that today, right? Trading around your position is something that I've been talking about a lot more in the last few days. But it's really something that I've been driving home with the with the traders I'm working with one-on-one. It's nearly impossible for me to explain it here. Let's see, 76. I have the final ad at 76, 21, 75. Let me see. What are excuse me, 75, 58, 75, 55. So just scouting around here for where I'm going to get into trouble on this. And go ahead and tighten up. Yeah, you know what? So I think maybe it comes later on in the day, in the afternoon. It's just been a meat grinder. So easy money. I think so. What I'm looking at is, so I looked at the ticks and I'm looking at the internals, and also what Sam B posted, right? So when you add that entire context picture together, and when you add rollover to it, you got to. So typically, the best way I know to explain is, you almost treat like that first and second rollover day as an OPEX kind of day, right? So if you guys know how know about the spread, there are spread strategies, right, where people are trading the spread, right, getting the difference on the spread, but also there's a lot of unwinding and repositioning, right? So like, say you're at JP Morgan or a Merrill Lynch or one of those other big banks, right? And you're say that you're long, your book contains 125,000 long E-minis, and you have an average of this price, and now you have to start, because the CME tells you that the contract is going to start been expiring. You've got to get those into the front month. So how do you do that, right? You certainly want to keep price as within a range, so that you can buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and get out of those, get out of the old ones, and get that, and try to get in and get into that new contract. And while there are many ways to do that and tons of different strategies on how they execute that, I think that's my theory on why many of these days you'll just see price just stay stuck, like it's not going anywhere. And then there's like, out of nowhere, there's like, it's like they take they take the cuffs off and it explodes, and there'll be one move and then it'll return right back to balance. What is this? Oh, what did I change it? $31.50s is where I would get 10 points on that contract, not the ad, but the other one, the one that was right before this. All right. Gosh, this is so boring. Last week was really exciting. That was tons of fun, huh? I love those times in the market. You get those outsized volatility periods, and it just can be a lot of fun. I mean, it could be a lot of pain too, but it can be really fun. Yep. Yeah, that's a good eye, Sam B. Yeah. The WAD has been steady. Steady on the bull side. NASDAQ broke out. Well, I mean, the Russell is doing its own thing, but it's not going to change my decisions. And then the argument that the ticks, what we saw, that buying wane kind of at the open. Well, then if that was just a lack of buying, it wasn't really anything that materialized. So you can have that same look if they're selling, or you could just have that same look if there's just an absence of buying. And I think we had the latter today, evident in that price could not break. I covered twice into these 06s and 07s, thinking we were going to get that that look above and fail, get back below 76.02, and get back into this lower gap. But and if you look at, like, okay, so say for instance, look at XLK, that was around this. Because I was watching it also, and that was around the time that it was trading like in the one. It was trading 191, 190.50, 190.30. And it had put in a pretty big wick, like just off the open, and it could not get into that wick. And I was monitoring that, and I thought, all right, well, with the ticks, with XLK coming off, and then the NYSE internals had opened up at over 2-to-1 positive, and they had come in to like 1.8, and I saw the AD coming in also. I thought that maybe we had, the market had, for lack of a better term, had blown its wad on the opening, and we were coming in. And if it's hard to explain all that in real time, but if you can envision that, at that moment there was an argument to be made for, hey, this could collapse. And then if you're looking at here, this is the other thing this is how I was getting that level, because at the same time SPX was bumping its head up against 75.50, right? Okay, so SPX was bumping its head up against 75.50, and then we had there was just a ton of puts there, of calls there, and I didn't think we would break through. Not on the first try. So you can see here, right? This is another look at all the volume that was at 75.50, right? You can see that it's denoted by that red line. So I thought that, hey, on the other side of that, these guys got to pay out that premium, right? And I just thought, all right, well, maybe they do, but not on the first run, not on the first pass. And I was and I was wrong. It's kind of hard to see here. Let's see if I can get a better look for y'all. See if I can share a better. Okay, so look, if I open it here, right? Look at that. It's a little bit too big, but that's all that volume right there. That's all 75.50. I didn't think we would bust through that on the first pass. Then you had the ticks coming off. You had I wish there was a way to test the thesis where you didn't have to lose money. But when you know how to manage it, that's where that's what kind of circles back to what I was mentioning before about managing your trade, keeping your eyes on it. I have to go to the bathroom now, and I can't. I don't necessarily want to walk away from this position right now. Moving on up. See if we can get some extension now. The volume's coming in pretty good. In hindsight, I should have bought those 14s. I was looking at them really closely. I knew that there was a battle there going on. I could have bought those. I didn't. You're waiting for the soccer game to start. Yeah. So Oz, the interesting point about that. So my wife, that was my wife's sport. She played pretty high level soccer, and she had like Division I offers for it, and she's been watching it all since it started, but she's watching it on Telemundo because that's where she's getting it, which is kind of fun to watch for me. All right, so team, I got the 10 points on that. I just realized I got the 10-point fill. So yay, that feels like a today. And I have two more that I added back. So once I got the first one off, I went ahead and added a few more in. I got those at 28, looking for 32, looking for 33 quarter on that. Really just trading these dynamically, though. I'm in and I'm out. I'm putting these stops up here just in case for a potential like Trump move, but even if for a news bomb or something of that nature. But I never with scalp trading like this, the way I'm doing it, you never want to be too far away. I've had to use the bathroom for like 20 minutes, and I won't step away. Because I mean, this might make this is pretty much going to be. Seems like this might be my day right here. I don't necessarily want. I'm not necessarily want to execute much during lunchtime. That doesn't make sense. And then maybe I get something in the afternoon. But I clawed back the early 3-point, 4-point stop on those scalps into 07s. And I was really played those really close to my chest and taking that. So I had 76.12. I got one off at 76.07, and then I got the other one off at like 70. I traded it twice, 76.12 down to 76.07, and then it came back in on me, and I lost a point on it or something in that area. So I think I netted like three. Let's just call it 3.5 because of commissions. I sold the 76.12s again. It came down. It hit very close to my target. Didn't fill it. And I think I got 3 or 4 on that. It came back in on me, and I closed that one out at break even. And then I sidelined myself. And then I got into the scalp above the high on the momentum, understanding that all of this, just a play on all these, all of the guys who were thinking what I was thinking and had their stops above here are now stopping out. So let's go get some of that liquidity and scalp them. Just trying to put a day together. Claw it out one way or another. If you stay pretty patient and you just take trades that follow a logic chain, you can do pretty good even on bad days. Dang, I'm gonna have to use the restroom. I'm 33 quarter offered for 5. Okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you give me some ice and Diet Cola? That ice. Ice and Diet Cola. All right, I'm back. So last night, like at 1 a.m, my internet went down, and there was someone up watching TV, and they woke me up, and I found myself outside checking the ONT box. I have fiber in my house, and I was outside checking it at like 1:30 a.m. with a flashlight, rebooting the ONT box outside. All right, coming into that, see if we can get that 5-point target filled at 33 quarter. Thanks, pal. Appreciate you. All right, got the fill for so plus 5 points on that one. Yay. We're really ripping them apart over here, huh? Yeah, I'll take it. Forget that. Yeah, it beats a shark. It beats a poke in the eye. Just trying to claw a day together. Definitely beats a sharp stick in the eye. So, what do you guys like? Do you guys like highly volatile markets like we saw last week, or do you do better in this type of tape that's a little bit more subdued? It's a little bit more manageable. What do you all prefer? Yeah, it's so boring. Okay. Let's see. Nope. It's not it's not missing any windows. All right, guys. So I'm gonna put a bow on this day. I'll be lurking here in the background. My stomach's growling. I want to grab a bite to eat. I'm just gonna keep scalping these out into for about the next 20 minutes or so. It looks like we have. So the more and more I look at this. I mean, this is from the open last night. Gosh, and I looked at these right here. I saw this trade and I thought about buying them too, and I didn't. I thought about it. I was like, oh, because there's a setup for this. I have a setup for this type of gap up scenario, and I didn't buy them. I just didn't want to deal with it. But I would have been still in that move. So, it looks like we have a trend day in the making, right? So trend days buck everything. Just continue to follow, buy pullbacks, stick with the trend. I mean, this is about as clean as it gets, right? And you can see what I'm doing. I'm just scalping these out, like taking fives out of it wherever I can get it. Just trying to, like I said, just trying to put a day together. I don't want to overthink it. Just keep the risk tight, monitor it, and just keep taking quick profits out, and you'll be okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and it's just a grinder. There's not much going on. It's very boring, and my stomach's growling. But all right, team. So that's gonna call it for me for this morning. Thanks, Delphine. Thanks, Live Action. Thanks, J Murrock. Thanks, E-Mini Sniper. Thanks everybody for all your support. I'll be lurking here in the background. Hopefully, man, maybe there's a Truth Social bomb that comes out later on today or something. I don't know. Maybe something wakes these markets up and we can actually have some type of analysis or something to trade. That being said, stay tuned. Some programming notes coming out this week. If you got anything out of this at all, thank you for all your support. Please do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, come back in, check this out. Tomorrow we'll be here from 9 to 1. Yeah, tomorrow we'll be here from 9 to 1. So, all right, team, thank you very much for your support. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow.